It's happening.
Okay.
Woo!
We're live. I just need to check OBS. Like it works. Like it shows me. What the heck? That's weird. It shows me on here. They can hear my audio is in, obviously.
Yes, and I can hear you
Hmm.
perfectly.
Can
I
you
can
see
see
me?
you, yeah.
Okay. Now I can now I
Okay,
can see
phew!
myself. Okay.
I was
Awesome.
like last minute complications.
Alrighty.
Of
Alrighty. Here we
course.
go. Oh God, that was stressing me out a little bit.
What's
Okay.
up,
Okay.
everybody?
Cool. Now we're live. Hello, guys. And here we are finally with the stream that
Yes.
we've been planning for
Like
quite some
a year.
time. I think we talked about this, what?
It's
Yeah,
been
like
like
a
a
year ago
year.
we were going to do something like this,
Yeah.
and now we're finally coming through. And for those of you who are coming in and don't know who this is right here, this is Catherine
What is
LaSalle,
up?
Cat for
Yes,
short.
yes.
And she was Darth Padme in Star Wars, or
Both.
Padme in Star Wars Theories, fan web series, whatever you want to call it. Episode 1, Shards of the Past. So, to start this off right now, I'm going to ask her a couple of questions
Oh,
on
let's
that note.
go.
So I was gonna ask you, considering how like it was a fan film, it looked like it was a pretty professional set and everything was kind of going along pretty swimmingly. What was it like for you, being on set with, not only Star Wars Theory, but with the rest of the cast as well?
It was super legit, almost like in an intimidating way. Like it was my first time ever on a film set like that, and it was like as professional as could be, and it was like almost overwhelmingly cool and exciting and like nerve-wracking, but just like I was just so stoked. It was so hype, and I was just like starstruck being there, seeing like everyone else in costume. Like I always say this, but like the
Mhm.
experience we all had there together, like really just being like transported into the world of Star Wars, like as these characters, like literally walking around
Mhm.
with like Dupree in his like super accurate Darth Vader costume, and like walking around with Steve as Palpatine and all like
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
it
sick, by
was.
the way.
Everyone just looked great. Huge shout out to the hair and makeup and costume department. They made everyone look absolutely fantastic. But I always say like that experience of all of us just being there like that together, getting to film what we were about to be filming was just like every Star Wars fan like deserves that. It was just so exciting. It was just oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Everyone was fangirling like the entire time. Like we were obviously taking it.
Well, it was probably amazing for you too, huh? The fact that you got picked, because he sent out, it was like a big submission thing, right?
Yeah, it
For
was.
casting.
It was super exciting. I remember I still to this day like can't believe that it happened, and sometimes I like not forget that it happened because it's like out of my mind, but I just genuinely still like can't believe that I like got to do that, and sometimes it just hits me all over again and I'm like, "Oh my gosh. This was a thing. This happened." But yeah, no, it was like I went into it totally thinking I had no chance at all of like getting the part, even getting an email back. Like I was truly just like expecting that I was going to send my audition like into the interwebs, and it was just going to go into the void, and I was never going to hear
Hmm.
anything. I was like totally preparing myself for that kind of disappointment. And I was like, don't get excited, don't get confident, like truly just tell yourself this isn't going to happen and you won't be disappointed. And then I got an email back from them asking for a callback, and that's when I was like,
Hmm.
"Yo, this could actually happen." And that's when I like told my family that I was doing it. Like I didn't tell anyone other than like my boyfriend that I had sent in this audition, because I didn't want anyone to like know that I was trying for this and then me like end up not getting it. So then I like told my mom. I was like, "So like I auditioned for this like thing."
I
Yeah.
did this thing.
And then I was actually like
Yeah.
with
No,
my
exactly.
family, like my entire family, my mom, dad, boyfriend, younger brother, when Danny gave me the call that I had gotten the part, and we were all just kind of like running around my house, like freaking out. So yeah, it was such an exciting process from start to finish of like hearing back from them. Like, but I of course couldn't focus on anything Like, I had a summer job to do. Like, I had stuff I was doing, and I just could not focus on, like, anything else at all. Like, all day, every day, I was just, like, checking my email, like, oh, what's gonna happen?
I mean, I just have to say, like, I remember he made a separate video with, like, the submissions that he liked the most. And yours was obviously by far, like, the best. I mean, I don't know if it's just because you can channel your inner Padme and, like, you know, really release it. But you were definitely the best, like, of the top 5 or whatever. So, you know, not only were you the best, but, like, obviously you're a pretty talented actress. And I don't know if you mind me kind of saying that, you know, you're pursuing
I'm definitely open about it. Everyone on my channel knows at least.
Yeah. So it's okay, cool. And the fact that you're making your big move
going over to the La La
California.
Land. It's definitely exciting. Yeah, no, it's something
the dark side or the light side, however you interpret it.
For sure. Yeah, no, it definitely, it was a great first experience doing the fan film, and it totally got me stoked and wanting to, like, do more of this stuff. And, you know, the end game goal, of course, would be to be in, like, an actual Lucasfilm production of some sort of Star Wars project. For the longest time, when it was rumored that the Game of Thrones writers were having their own trilogy, when that was a thing for, like, a hot minute, I was so, like, I need to be in this. I need to do this so badly. But that, of course.
Well, I remember we were all super excited about that until season 7 came out. And then we were like, oh, okay, I guess it's good they're not handling their own trilogy. Whether you like season 7 or not, there was definitely problems with it, no matter.
Well, was it after the final season of Game of Thrones came out? Was it after that Disney dropped them and it was revealed that they weren't getting their own trilogy, or did that happen before the season? I totally forget what that timeline was.
Oh, I don't even know.
I feel like it happened.
Maybe they were literally like, oh well. They don't want to lose money by hiring these kids, so we'll just. I mean, I think it was they said other commitments or other engagements that they wanted to pursue, and I'm like, why would you ever turn down Star Wars? It just seems kind of weird.
They probably just needed a break after, like, all the Game of Thrones backlash. They probably were just like, we're done for now.
Yeah, no, for sure. But anyway, we went off on a little tangent there. I wanted to ask you specifically about, you know. Star Wars Theory himself, obviously, you know, he wants to be private and doesn't want to reveal his name or anything. But what was it like working with him? And is he a pretty, you know, chillax dude, as he seems like on his channel?
He was like, first off, we had no idea what he was even going to look like. Like, we went into it like, all right, we're going to have to, like, peg this guy out.
Oh, that's right.
Like, we didn't even know what he looked like or who to look for when we went to set. And I remember FaceTiming with Merrick, young Anakin. I FaceTimed with him and his mom the evening before we were going to fly out to LA, and I was like, they had already been on set. They had already met him, so I was like, what does he look like? Give me something to work with here. Like, tell me. And they described him for us, and then when we got to set, within, like, 2 seconds of us being there, he pops up out of nowhere, and he was like, hey, guys. And we immediately recognized his voice, and my boyfriend and I just fangirled so hard. Like, but it was also so just strange, because we'd both been watching his channel for, like, a while. And so, like, hearing that voice for so long, but then, like, not being able to put a face to it, and then finally putting his face to it, it was strange. It was very strange. For the longest time, like, I felt like his face didn't match his voice. Now it seems like totally natural, but when I first met him, I was like, this is just weird. But no, he is literally, like, as humble as he comes across on, you know, his channel. He is just, like, so genuinely, truly down to earth, and you could totally tell, like, the vibes that on set, like, he was not at all like, this is my project, or, like, you know, this is all about me. Like, he literally was so, you could totally tell he was genuinely doing it out of his passion for, like, his fans, and wanting to just make something awesome for, like, the fandom. Like, it just, like, totally, that is the energy that he, like, emits. Like, just absolutely so, like, low-key, modest, So chill, so fun to work with. He's really like as awesome as he comes across on his channel for sure.
Awesome. I'm sorry, Kat. I just went to chat. Apparently, there's a lot of issues going on right now.
Oh no!
There's
Oh no!
yeah, God, guys, sorry. Like we were testing. We were doing so much testing about this, and now it looks like it's lagging. Like not only is it like lagging, but like the audio is echoing or something. So let me just check that real quick.
Rats, all this testing and it got us nowhere.
Yeah. Oh no.
What's
Sounds
happening?
terrible.
All right, nobody in my chat has said anything's going terribly. Folks in...
I can hear it on mine. It's pretty
Oh
bad.
no.
Like yeah,
I'm getting a text from Tom who's watching in the other room. All right, he says it's okay on this end. Alrighty. Well, 80 edits. Well, we try to troubleshoot real quick. I got to acknowledge my chats. From Aiden, $5. Hey, Kat, congrats on 10K. That's so awesome. I'm really proud of you. Keep up the amazing work, and you'll do just fine. Aiden, thank you so much. That's so kind of you. I hope that you're doing so well. Thank you so much for the super chat. It's great to hear from you, and I'm so glad you could be here. Thank you. And from my man's Charlie. Charlie, you need to, like, stop giving me your money. You're too kind. Insert prequel meme. I have been looking forward to this. Cheers to 2 awesome channels. I have spoken. Charlie, cheers to you, my friend. You are thebomb.com. Always, always. I am not worthy of your never-ending support and your literally super chats every video. Thank you.
How does it sound now? Sorry,
No,
sorry,
it's
Kat.
okay.
How does it sound now? I don't even know. I gotta unplug
I'm
this
getting
thing.
texts from my family who are watching who are saying it's okay. So,
It's probably fine. It's probably something to do with me. God, I'm so
it's
inept with this kind of
okay.
stuff.
Literally, I'm not one to.
I'll be sounding like
I'm not one to talk.
like Yoda with strep throat. Damn.
That's what they said you sounded like? Oh no. At least it's
Yeah.
okay on my end. No one has said anything is going bad over here, so.
Man, I don't. Dude, I don't know, man.
It just stinks. We tested so much.
Audio input. I can hear it now. God damn it.
What is the
Okay.
issue?
So supposedly my voice is like all muffled and messed up.
Oh no.
I don't really know why. I don't know if I have to turn something down. A little bit, or let's see.
On my channel, they say they can hear you fine over here. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
really? So it has something to do with my stream, maybe.
Perhaps.
Here, I'm just gonna turn something down really quick, and then we'll just continue since your stream's fine.
Okay.
Whatever.
At least one.
And then I'll just tell them to go tune on on
Oh,
your
okay.
stream. Yeah, I'll just tell them to go tune it on. Because oh my god, it's so upsetting.
Only because we did like a million tests.
Yeah, so many to make sure this was okay, and then it's just
Yeah.
like, bleh.
Rats.
Okay.
We have another super
Okay.
chat from Chris A. Thank you so much, Chris, for your chat. Your channel is great. As a huge Star Wars fan, I love watching your content. Thank you so much. I am so glad you're here, and I'm glad that you enjoy the content. It always means a lot to me whenever like huge Star Wars fans tell me that they enjoy my channel. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, and with that, sorry everyone, we'll just keep going, and then we'll figure all
Yeah.
this stuff out later.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, okay, so on that note of Star Wars theory, like that you went off on about how awesome he is, I also wanted to go along the lines of what made you want to pursue acting in general. Like, what about, like, obviously you're a very artsy
Yeah.
person, you know, you were an art major. What about acting, and is it like the film industry? What about it was like, you know what, I want to do that?
So when I was like 8, my parents, I just had this random, like, I want to, like, do acting. I liked, like, singing and stuff. Like, I loved just, I guess, in a slightly narcissistic way. I don't know, without being an 8-year-old narcissist. I just loved, like, performing and, like, being on stage. And I loved doing, like, my elementary school's, like, talent shows. Like, that to me, I don't know, there's just, like, a rush that goes along with, like, performing in front of like people and like I don't know, doing what you enjoy doing in front of an audience. And so I was like, I want to like go to an acting like camp or something. And my parents sent me to one summer when I was like 8 years old, and that's when I was like, I love this so much. And I continued to do it throughout middle school, high school. I did it in school, and then I did like community theater and stuff. And there's just like it's just the rush. It's definitely, I think any theater kid will tell you, like, the rush that you and like the rest of your castmates feel, like, especially for a live stage performance. That was my entire background before I did the fan film, which is the first thing that I ever did, like, on camera for like a screen production. But for like live theater, which I love, it's just like the adrenaline, the kind of the high stakes, the pressure of like there is a live audience out there and there's no room for mistakes, and everything has to be perfect. All your cues have to be perfect. Like, there's something about that is just like, it's so addicting. Like, it's just, oh, it's such an awesome feeling. And like what I love particularly about acting is when you feel that click of like, you are fully like in your character. You're like no longer yourself.
Like you can do
the
switch.
Like it takes a minute. It definitely takes a while. And like, but like if you truly love a role and you are enveloped in like your character, like that feeling when you're on stage and you lose yourself and you become this totally other character, and it's your job to bring them to life. Like, that is the best feeling in the world. And that's why I loved but also was very nervous about being in the fan film, because Padme was obviously this character that already existed. She's already been done. Natalie Portman, you know, totally slayed. Like, we all know her and love her as she already exists. And so I was excited to take on that role and like feel that transformation. Also because I just love Padme and I've loved her since I was a kid. So like that opportunity as just a fan, not even just like a fan who enjoys acting, but just as a Star Wars fan alone, was like the coolest thing. So and like especially putting in like the Sith contact lenses and getting in the full costume, like that is when it like you have that moment of like, oh my god, it's clicking, it's happening. Like I feel it. I feel the Darth Padme coming to life. So yeah, that.
And those lenses you still have.
Oh yeah, I do have to get new ones because I've since learned it is not hygienic to save them for this amount of time. So I'm looking into getting some new ones. But yeah, I do still play around with those and throw them in every now and then. Now that I've learned how to properly actually put a contact lens in, since all my viewers on this channel know that I struggled so much doing that the first time, for sure.
That's so funny. Yeah, see, I have the luxury of not knowing what that's like because I still don't wear glasses or anything. I've never had to. So wearing contacts is like a whole other monster that, I have buddies that are just, dealing with having, eventually get used to it, but like, it gets annoying, I'm sure. Especially if you forget to take them out. I know that's
a thing, yes. Right? I am not a contact wearer. I don't wear glasses. And so I got to the set that day and I had never put a contact lens in my eye before. And Danny, the director, was asking Dre, the makeup artist, like, all right, do we have the contact lenses for Padme? And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, you're wearing your yellow Sith lenses. And I was like, no, shoot. Like, I had a rush of mega like panic and like a little mini breakdown inside. I was like, I can't put a contact lens in. And it was it was quite the ordeal. So yeah, no, I also have no idea. Like contacts, I shout out to anyone who wears those on a regular basis because I can't. I'd have so much respect for people who do that every single day, touching their eyeballs like that.
Yeah, for those of us who aren't lucky with good vision, mine will probably, as we get older, my vision
Oh
will
yeah.
probably fade. But so do you know anything about maybe episode 2? Like, is there any details that you can give me? Are you in contact with them at all, or
Truthfully,
anything?
I'm not just saying this because I'm technically not allowed to share anything, but I also legit just don't know anything about episode 2. Like, I have a general idea of the overarching like plot, but it's kind of the same as we all know. Like, it's gonna be about Mace Windu and what's going on with that. Like, but beyond that, there's nothing I could even, if I even was allowed to share, there was nothing that I even know. I have.
Which by the way,
No, it's okay.
sorry to interrupt, but which by the way, that actor, remember he teased like the actor that he's gonna cast for Mace, like, and no one actually knew that wasn't Samuel L. Jackson. It actually like the demeanor, like the way he presents, like it just, I was like, wow, he actually got him, and then I realized, oh wait, that's not Samuel. And I was like, that's so
Elliot
sick,
Branch.
Like he really knows how to.
I know.
Yeah. He really knows how to find his people. Oh, Elliot, wait, he's the you met that guy?
Yeah,
right?
he was at the premiere for episode 1. He was there, so I have met him very briefly before. Yes. Yeah. No.
Oh yeah, and the premiere, how was that? I was so bummed I didn't get to go.
That was like the coolest thing ever. Oh my gosh, it was like the most fun, most fun night of my life for sure. It was just so cool, like seeing how many people like came out for that and were so excited for it and like waiting outside, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, but it was also just so cool because we were all like fellow fans, so like meeting all the people who were there to like support it, it was just so like, I just love it. I love being with other like Star Wars nerds. I don't know, like it's very rare that you get to be in a setting with that many fellow like geeks and nerds, so it was just like so cool.
Yeah, it was packed.
Yeah, it was. I was just the entire time like just astounded by like, oh my gosh, how people came out for this, like which is awesome. It was so great that people showed up for that and were there to support it. Like, power to anyone who was at the premiere. You guys are the OGs for sure. But it was also fun just like seeing it.
I can only imagine.
No, I was just going to say it was also fun, like, seeing it, like, on screen. Because that was the first time I had seen it. So I was also, like everyone else there, I was like, this is my first time watching it. So it was just, like, the excitement. Like, we were all just, like, ready to, like, finally see it after, like, months of waiting and, like, not being able to focus on anything else. Like, I was just so stoked.
It was such a shame, because that was when I was going to school. Like, I was in San Francisco. Like, it was like literally like a week. Didn't he reschedule it at one point, or was it always the same date?
He might have. I am not 100% sure. I think it was up in the air for like a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. I think something happened where like he changed the date, and I was like, oh wait, now I can't go. Because like it was like it happened to work out where it was like a weekend where I was home, or like a week when I was home or something. So like I managed to get like that virtual ticket like right away and everything, and I don't know, I was just like, okay, awesome. And then he changed it, I think, and then I was like, well, I'm in SF now, and I can't make it, so I'll just tune into all the behind the scenes events and everything. And like it was like there were so many people there, like that's so like the fact that like like a I don't know, like a YouTuber or like a fan film creator or whatever can ignite that much excitement and like fandom to like go to a premiere with like, I don't know, how long was the film, like 20 minutes?
Yeah, like not minutes? Even like maybe like it's like 16, I think. Yeah. But even for that short of a project, like the amount of people that showed up for it, it was just like, it was awesome.
And like the funny thing about that, everyone was like really like hoping that it was like longer or whatever. Like a lot of people don't realize like how expensive making a film is, and let alone a series. When it comes down to like payroll, and like when you come down to producing it, figuring out location scouting, shooting, and then just in general like like the development process costs money too.
Oh yeah.
And then compositing. There's all sorts of things that really go into
making a movie that really a lot of people just don't consider. And like you see like low budget films for like $5 million, and that's considered low budget, and he didn't have anywhere near that. And the fact that he was able to pull off what he did was truly remarkable. So I think a lot of people should take that into account when they watch, if they go back and watch it again, or even like now, people who don't realize. But it's like, I don't know. It's just, the fact that the critique comes down to the fact that it didn't look like a high budget film is like kind of unfair, considering like what he was able to do with what he had.
Exactly.
And now he's a lot bigger, and I'm sure episode 2 will have a lot better budget. He's just making sure that it looks like really good. But yeah, I think a lot of people need to kind of cut back and look back and realize like the filming is expensive as hell.
And it's not like it's a casual thing. Everyone's just chilling on set. It's like, because it's so expensive, every second, every minute counts. So there's like no like dilly-dallying, and like the pressure's on, especially for the budget that he had and the time constraints that he had to like film. He only had set, I think they had 4 days on set to get everything done, and which sounds like a lot, but for the amount of takes,
that's really not a lot at all.
And so truly, like, it was fun. Like, we all had a great time, and there was definitely time, we all took pictures and stuff, but like when we were like in game time mode, it was kind of like, we got to do this. We got to get this done. We're here till 7. It's already 4. Like, every minute counts. Like, we can't, there's like not a minute to waste, because you are literally dropping money like every minute that goes by, especially for, the budget that he had. So yeah, it was like, it is disheartening when you see like the comments from people who like don't understand, like, all right, well, he literally was funding this himself with his own money.
Yeah.
So like, let's give the guy a break, please.
Like, he doesn't have 100 million, he has 100,000.
Exactly.
So like, and like 50,000 of that is just all into like, the like set design, like the production, the food. Like, food's a big thing too. Putting people up in hotels, it's like there's so many like factors that come into, the money goes by really fast. So, and then there's reshoots. Were there reshoots involved? I don't know if I'm allowed to ask that.
I don't think so, because they kind of were just like, we gotta get this done now. So yeah, I think that even adds more pressure to it. The element of like, this is our only chance.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's why I'm an editor. That's why I could never be on production, because of like the time constraints. Like, at least as an editor, when you're cutting something and then you're like, oh wait, that doesn't look very good, you can change it. Whereas when you're filming something, it's kind of forever. You can delete it and reshoot it, but you don't have the time. You don't have production time, because each minute that goes by, like you said, it's expensive. Whereas with an editor, you kind of have the course of 6 months to kind of put a story together, put a narrative together.
True.
Whereas when you're shooting, you have like a week or a month or however long your script schedule or shooting schedule really is. So yeah, I can only imagine what to be a cinematographer, like anything in the production side really is stressful. That's why I'm not. That's not me.
Well, but the editing, that's another thing people don't realize. Like, the amount of people that deserve a whole lot of credit from that aren't seen like on set or on camera. The people who are, the VFX team and like post production, like that's like half the battle, if not more, of putting something like that together. So like, you guys deserve a ton of credit for. You put in like more. Like, I was on set for 1 day, and then I pieced out. Like, that was it. There's the VFX team and the behind the scenes, like the editors and post production team, like put in way more work than just 1 8-hour day on set. So like, there's so many people that deserve like the recognition for like the enormous amounts of work that go into post production.
Yeah, for real. So with that, do you want to? We should probably catch up on the stream if you want to read some comments or whatever. Okay. I don't want to leave everyone hanging over here.
Let's see. I have some questions for you though. I have one serious one and then one like juicy one, but we'll see.
Okay.
Shout out to everyone who's here. I hope we are accommodating a little bit more some of our European friends. holler at us if you're tuning in from Europe.
Yeah, more or less. That's kind of why we started a little bit earlier. We wanted to make sure we could get, people from all over instead of, it being strictly American, United States, and whatever. Just, we figured we'd be accommodating as much as possible, and it's really upsetting because apparently my audio is all buggy. So we'll figure that out for next time. But apparently it's still watchable on my stream. That's what some people are saying.
Least.
But what's up, Inferno?
Greetings from a German in California. Look at you going all over the place. Okay, we've got some UK peeps. That's awesome. So on the note of editing, I wanted to ask you, because I've told you before, I'm very curious about, as someone who can't edit at all, I wouldn't even know the first place to start. I'm genuinely curious about your process. So I obviously watch do a lot of reactions. I watch a lot of, edits from a lot of other, creators, editors, a lot of different channels. And I've noticed that everyone kind of has their own kind of not formula, but everyone has their own unique style. At least amongst the editors that I watch, like you, War Leader Productions, Ilya TS, HFP, I'm totally blanking on. I know there's more, but amongst those channels that I watch a lot on my channel, you can definitely tell there's individualism going on, and you all kind of have your own artistic voice when it comes to your final composition. So I'm presuming that editing is very kind of self-taught in that way, in terms of yes, you can watch a tutorial on how to do technical things, but in terms of evolving into your own style and what turns into your own kind of, again, I don't want to say formula, but kind of just what you kind of, just your style, I guess. How do you feel looking back at your very first videos to where you are now? How do you feel that you have evolved in that sense? Where you started off to how you're, how you compose a video now? How has your style evolved?
So I would say, going all the way back to when I started, as you know, I was just editing on here as a college student, just trying to, make videos on, franchises and whatever that I, enjoy. And I figure if I'm going to edit and learn, I want to edit with something that, I actually enjoy. And so, it all started as kind of like a hobby in a way. It obviously turned into much more. But in terms of where I was then to now, then I was just trying to, I guess, figure out softwares. I was editing on Vegas for a little while. Sony Vegas, if you're familiar. Pretty cheap software. You can buy it outright instead of paying the monthly subscription for Premiere, which can really add up if you're not making money. It all started on Vegas, and then when I finally switched over to Premiere, everything changed. I started learning, from just the basics of cutting things together to, syncing to music, figuring out the art of trailer making, which is what I'm personally very interested in. Like the idea of a trailer, editing for a trailer is extremely different than editing for, say, a feature film, because I guess the way I see it is when you're editing a trailer, you're editing to the pace of the music rather than the pace of the story. So, because with the film, you obviously have a lot more time to drag on scenes and etc. Whereas with the trailer, you're really, following the music and setting your own pace in that way with loud cinematic clashes or whatever it is, which is, really an art form in itself. It's really a completely different style of editing. All my editing professors that, I was talking to about that say they don't really know anyone in the post-production side of trailer making, because when I was learning editing and asking them about so how would you view it this way? It's I don't even approach editing that way. See, I do it this way because it's for filmmaking, it's for feature filmmaking. You don't edit to the music and necessarily. You edit to the story, into the dialogue, etc. So, just for anyone curious, it's it's a completely different side of things. Editors for trailers are completely different editors than editors for feature films. So continuing on that note of like style, like I myself come from a very musical background. You know, I played like saxophone in middle
Oh,
school with like 'cause
sweet.
that's what everyone was
Mm-hmm.
doing. So I was like, I'll go play some sax, and then I played
Mm-hmm.
guitar. Um, so like I know how to like read music and feel rhythm and just
Okay. Mm-hmm.
jam. So as that translates to my edits, there's a certain sound that I know, like the sound cinematic and very orchestral based. Like there's like a sound that like I know if a sound is good and not like kind of like
Mm-hmm.
synthetic and fake. Like Samuel Kim, for example, uses very nice sounding
Mm-hmm.
instruments, and whether they're synths or not, they sound very
Yeah.
good. They sound like they're in their own space, like it's an immersive space. So like using his music, which he allows me to do, is just really awesome to really help set the pace for
Mm-hmm.
my trailers. So like with that, when I was saying people who make trailers edit to music, I use my musical background to edit to the music
Oh, yeah.
based off of what emotions are emitting from the scenes that are portrayed to tell the story in as quick a time as possible with only like like say like 2 minutes to 3 minutes. Like being able to like tell like a whole story in that time is really
Yeah.
it's tough, but like with music, with the dialogue and with the scene selection, you can tell a lot in a little amount of time, which is what I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoy because it kind of matches the whole idea of our generation kind of being kind of
Yeah.
ADD and not really being to sit through a movie or whatever. Like they're always on their
Mm-hmm.
phone. So the fact that I can deliver content that can kind of glue people for like however long their
Yeah.
attention span is, like
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, something that I really like, and it works well in the YouTube space. So once it kind of took off, I started realizing, I actually really like making trailers, and I think as of the response that I'm getting, it seems like I'm
Oh,
pretty okay at it,
I would say
and
so. Mm-hmm.
um, and then we linked up because I saw your reactions to my videos,
Mm-hmm.
and like I just love seeing like how people react to my stuff because like when people react to the stuff like it's like personally when I edit something, it's like sometimes I'm so proud of like a certain edit that I even get kind of teary eyed
Yeah.
sometimes. So it's like if over time editing it over and over again, it doesn't really affect me the same way anymore because as playing the same song and like the same dialogue over and over and over and over again until you finally finish
Mm-hmm.
the edit kind of dilutes the whole your
Yeah.
perspective. So seeing it from someone who's just seeing it for the very first time in a completely finished form is
Mm-hmm.
really cool. So um, whether they like it or not, I'm not going to be like, oh, you're a hater. Like you can not like my stuff. It's fine. It's just kind of the idea of seeing how they react to something that I'm really
Mm-hmm.
passionate about, and that the pacing alongside the soundtrack alongside storytelling in only a 2-3
Yeah.
minute form.
Which
So
is impressive.
that's all I want
It's
to say.
hard to
Yeah, it's
compile something like
it's
that.
tough.
Like power I because I've watched a couple of your videos now that are like 3 minutes long, but they like pack a punch. And I feel like it's worth noting that like it's probably hard to do that, like to really like narrow down all of the content that you're choosing from. Say you're doing like a Star Wars trailer or something, like an edit like that. Like I feel like you definitely have to like know what you're doing and have an eye for that stuff to be able to make something that's like 2 to 3 minutes, like super short, but really still be able to capture like
Mm-hmm.
all of that emotion and like get the full range of everything going on. Like I don't know. For me, sometimes it's the shortest edits that are the most impressive for that reason, because it's like
Mm-hmm.
sure it's maybe only 3 minutes long, but like you like can make it feel like an eternity and like really like pack a punch with it, I feel like.
Yeah, or make time move
Yes.
fast. Either or. My goal is to have people get off their phone, or let's just say they're on their
Yeah.
phones watching on their phones because that's all YouTube
Mhm.
is now, is people watching their phones. But to be able to like take the attention span away from our erratic minds and just kind of stick to like
Yeah.
one little like 2-3 minute video and immerse someone is like my ultimate
Yeah.
goal. Really, it's like I feel like the better I can get at it, the better an editor I'll be in so many different ways anyway. And then hopefully produce trailers or whatever for big franchises like Lucasfilm
Mhm.
and everything. And in terms of your style, as you were saying, I'd say like Heroes Fan Productions and War Leader, like we said, who I'm collabing with, by
Mhm.
the way.
Shout out to War Leader.
Trailer coming out. Trailer coming out this
Oh,
week,
this
yeah,
week
for
I
sure.
can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be it's really good. It's honestly I think the best thing I've ever
Oh
done.
wow. Okay, but
Personally, it
you've
just
done a
it's
lot of good
really
things. So
but like imagine the process of trying to tell the entire Clone Wars in 3 minutes. You know,
Yeah.
it's like 7 seasons. It's like 20 episodes a season or something like
Mhm.
that. It's like tough. Like, I mean, I'm obviously not tooting my own horn or
No,
anything here. I'm
it's
just saying,
tough.
like, I'm really proud of this one. Like, I'm my own worst
Mhm.
enemy. You know, I never think my stuff is
Yeah.
good. So, like, the fact that I'm saying, like, I feel like this is, like, really good, is really saying a lot because I'm really proud of it for sure. So I can't wait
Yeah.
to release that. But I would say Heroes Fan Productions and all of them, like, they have a really good eye for it. I'd say I'm not gonna like say I do all my stuff, you know, without any inspiration. They really kind of inspire me as well, and really kind of help me kind of see how they edit to kind of help my own style as well. So it's like it's really interesting to the editing community on here because a lot of them, you know, are obviously just, you know, and I don't want to say use the term starving artists because they probably have, you know, good jobs and this is just a hobby of theirs. But like they don't monetize like their work.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
guys unfortunately
Most of them
can't.
don't because yeah, like I get lucky with like Sam Kim and some licensing things that I'm allowed to use music, etc. But it's just kind of like they do it for the passion. The passion really comes through in their editing, which is what I can notice and really helps my editing as well. And even there's a lot of smaller creators that, you know, just post every now and then that really deserve a lot more recognition that I'll probably start trying to collaborate with just in that note. Like Blue Stronghold, I've done a couple collaborations with them. I don't know if you've noticed
Yeah.
those edits. But yeah, I'd say as far as, you know, style goes, like everyone's kind of different because it's an art form, you know. And film industry is truly like an art in itself.
It's true.
So
This is true.
as a result of that, it's very subjective, and everyone can kind of see, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder in that regard, and like everything's kind of different depending on who's watching it and who's creating it. So to have like have a pretty large audience all kind of agree that, you know my stuff, or HFP with his audience, like saying that like it's like I love this stuff, like I cry, like your edits like made my day or whatever, like that's like really what it's all about at that point, as far as it being a business as well. Like those little things are really what make me want to continue with it.
Well, especially because you guys, and I say this with literally every reaction video that I make, but like you guys, and it's often so evident like how time consuming your stuff is. Like I feel like I watch so many edits and I'm just like, how many months or like hours did you have to pour into that? Because it's like it is not easy. So many people like look down on like editing channels and are like, this is just recycled content, but like it is not. And like even if that is the case, you have to comb through like every Star Wars movie or like or the shows or Mandalorian or like Clone Wars. Like you have to comb through so much content to find the exact snippets and moments that you want, and like trim things down and pick what's important, pick what you want to feature. Like by the time when all that's done, like it takes like HFP's been working on his Kylo Ren tribute for like months now. Can't wait for whenever.
Which I can't wait for
whenever that comes out. But like you guys put so much time into this, and so I can just imagine how like you work tirelessly, literally staring at your computer for like months on end. You finally upload something and like see like positive like reactions or people like geeking out about it. Like I can imagine like after all of that time, it's gotta feel like good to like watch a reaction. Like I know I'd just be like looking for people's reactions if I made good edits and spent months on my stuff and then posted them. Like I would be looking like who likes this, just give me like reinforcement please. So
I mean, yeah, like you could say like that's narcissism, but like it's just nice to see. Like I
wouldn't say like
I love seeing, you know, people react to what I put out there, because it's like, yeah, like you said, like it's a lot of time and effort that you're throwing into something, and it's your vision for something, and the fact that, you know, you could share that vision with someone else and kind of feel like you're there with them while they're watching it for the first time, it's like so cool, you know. And it's just like like I told you, like I wanted to show my girlfriend Star Wars for the first time, and I'd rather be right there with her do it instead of doing it over cam. But like just the idea of having someone that, you know, not like, I know I don't know any of these people, but it's like it's almost like they're family too, or like they're really close too, and I always, you know, let them know like I appreciate, you know, their support for for reacting. And I know people who watch me generally know that I like watching reactions, so they go and spam reaction channels, which is really nice too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, I don't know, like this like the whole YouTube space and the whole internet space and just the whole content creator space is like so unique in that it could start out as something like what I was doing, which was like, I know my edits, I deleted most of my edits from 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago. They're just terrible now. They're just terrible now when I look at them. At least now, I'm probably gonna look back in 4 years on my stuff now and be like, wow, that was bad. But,
that's understandable, though.
It's just like crazy how it can start as a hobby like that and immediately just become something so much more and getting opportunities and everything. It's just, it's awesome.
That's great. That's great. Well, a final question for you. I'm not gonna like bombard you with editing interrogations now, but this one, I don't want, this is coming from a place of pure curiosity. Like genuinely, I'd want to, because I know we have differing views on this, and you might know where this is going. I just genuinely want to understand where someone from the opposite mindset is coming from. But what is it about Reylo that makes you a fan of it?
Oh,
again,
no.
that's not me. That is just genuine curiosity. Not me trying to convince you to like be a Reylo hater like I am. But I just truly, as someone who hates Reylo with all of my being, I want to know where people who enjoy it are coming from. Like, I wish I liked it. I want to understand what it's like to like it. Like, what is your thought process? What about it makes you a fan? Like, I genuinely just want to know.
Yeah, that was like so far out of left field. I was not expecting that question.
I thought of it like last minute before this stream. I was like, oh, I have to ask him about Reylo.
No, that's so funny. So it's like, it's not that I'm a fan of like the Reylo thing. Like, it's like, I don't really refer to Reylo. It's more of like the dynamic between them of what it could have been and how like the whole idea of it isn't a bad thing. It's like people are just completely disregarding it completely. And I think they're not basing it off of like, the character development or whatever. But I know that a lot of people like refer to it as like, abusive and everything. And this was like so fresh in my mind, like when I was really thinking about making a video on it. But in general, like I think maybe it's I don't want to get personal, but maybe just because I've always kind of been in weird like abusive relationships in the past that kind of made me a better person, and kind of we learned how to be better people together because of it. And it's just like because there's a lot of issues that people go through, and like some people just aren't the greatest at the time, but it took being with that other person to really realize who they were. And I would just have to say, like, just based off of what I see, like and the potential that it could have been, like Kylo Ren and Rey, I didn't really bother me that much because of that. I see like Kylo was like he was like one of those like kids that was kind of like the opposite of Anakin. He was rich and spoiled with a golden spoon, and then just kind of left because his dad wasn't there. It was almost like completely reversal of Anakin. But he had a golden spoon in his hand. He didn't really know what he wanted really at all, because if you compare it to people that I kind of know over here in California, I know a lot of people like that. They go off the deep end. They're loaded. They go off the deep end because they don't really know what they want, and they didn't have the love they needed at home. And it took, Rey to kind of help him find that in a way, whether unhealthy or not. I'm not going to say that a lot of that stuff isn't unhealthy, because it definitely is. But there's aspects of it that are very, very real and very true to, like, I think a lot of relationships and a lot of people. And it just kind of resonated really well on me, because I kind of went through something like that, where it took the other person to kind of realize who you were individually. And it kind of far surpasses the whole idea of, falling in love with your captor, or whatever the whole argument was about that, and it being very toxic and everything, which, like, sure it is. But I mean, there's a lot of honestly, most relationships are pretty toxic in one way or another. Just obviously they were pretty intense, leaning one way, kind of bad. But the ideal is there, if that makes sense. And the way I shape my narrative when I edit them I make it that way, you know. And as unhealthy as it can be, it relates very very closely to, you know, and at least in one aspect or another, to a lot of people. And then that's why I think a lot of people like Reylo. You know, I don't like saying that because I don't like them as
A ship.
as a couple necessarily, but I think what they I think what they stand for is very real in a way.
Yeah.
Because I think the whole fairy tale thing and the whole like you know, Prince Charming, or like, you know, the guy's perfect, the girl's perfect, you know, let's all be happy together, is very unrealistic. And, you know, kind of, you know, falling in love with like the bad guy or the dark guy is kind of something that happens when someone really isn't in relationships. You know, like someone who's never been in a relationship, at least from my perspective, those girls tend to like it's like that's completely different from who they are, and they kind of want to save them. It's like the whole I want to save him. I want to, you know, like whether it's, you know, the guy or the girl saving the other gender. It's like a whole like the need they feel the need to save the other person, and, you know, whether unhealthy or not, it relates very well to a lot of people.
I am glad I asked that, because that actually like raises some points that my biggest complaint about Reylo. It's not that I mean, I guess I'm a little bit okay. I'd say the main reason I am anti-Reylo is because I didn't like the rushed aspect of it. I didn't like that it felt like a very last minute.
Like potential. Like
it felt like a very last minute. We got to appeal to one side of the Reylo fandom, or so we're just gonna have them kiss. It felt very like this was a last minute decision, and nothing from the previous two movies, other than maybe the suggestive forced FaceTiming between the two of them, led us to believe that this was going to happen.
Which I love.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, but I never really interpreted from that like this is romantic. I would never use the word romantic to describe the two of them because of the toxic and kind of weird nature of Kylo Ren constantly chasing Rey and being, you know, the weirdo that he once was. And so that was my biggest complaint, and why I really just like, my full body just cringed in the theater.
And like, you know, I'm thinking about it. You know, I think the only reason why I kind of can see some good in it and some aspects that are good in it is just because Adam Driver is such a good actor. You know, like imagine if there was like someone else that like was given that script to do that. You know, I probably would have been like, what the hell is this? I think he did really well portraying, you know, a very flawed
and torn
trope that could have been so good in like so many ways. But you know,
that's
what are you gonna do?
A good point though. Like my disappointment was I felt like it was rushed and wasn't romantic at all from the start. And if you wanted to frame the two of them as a couple at the end, then frame it that way from like the beginning at least, or a little bit more until like the last 5 minutes of the final movie. But you make a good point that it maybe wasn't necessarily, their dynamic isn't founded on like romanticism or like this kind of boyfriend girlfriend relationship, but more so of Kylo Ren and Rey, like Rey especially trying to bring out the good that is remaining in him, and that is what Reylo is more so.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like exactly like naive kind of love, like your first kind of like boyfriend kind of, you know, you go like you're kind of figuring out who you are through that person, you know, whether good or not. You know, it's neither of them are really in the romantic side of anything, you know, and the whole thing, like they're connected in a way, in so many other ways, you know, whether forced or not, like the aspect, like that whole aspect of like what they were going for was just very kind of realistic in a way for me. That's why I like, you know, that people rip on Hayden Christensen, you know, for his acting and everything, but you know, the aspects that George was going for there, I was totally with too, because, you know, if you were stuck in that position where you were going to choose between, you know, a bunch of people who are kind of culting you into, you know, submission over the person that, you know, saved you from yourself, your true love, you know, Padme, what are you going to choose? You know, it draws like the idea, like it humanizes the characters in a way and makes you like identify a lot better with them, which is what, you know, Kylo Ren was totally going towards. And then, you know, Rey was kind of going towards, but Rey just started turning into kind of one of those characters that was written by the writers, like the writers, whoever wrote Rey, it was like an audience kind of character. It wasn't a true character. It's not a realistic character. It was like a character that kind of represents like all the good and bad, but like is always successful at it. and just kind of carries on the plot, with plot armor, whatever you want to say, with it. So it didn't really get to flesh out her side of it, but Kylo's side was kind of fleshing out onto hers, and was really making the story was like really kind of molding into something that it could have been really great, and from a realistic standpoint, and dealing with hard relationships or whatever.
Yeah.
However you interpret it. I know from a female perspective, I don't know what you think about that.
I mean, my perspective, I just wasn't a fan. But this is why I wanted to hear from someone who actually doesn't cringe at the thought of Reylo, because I want to understand, the parts of it that you actually like, and that actually is eye-opening. You make good points that I kind of just wasn't considering, because I was just for the longest time just so anti. I just didn't. Yeah. I didn't want to see it.
I guess.
No,
sorry,
it's okay.
I didn't cut you off, but I guess when you say cringe, I kind of look at it. I guess for Star Wars in general, there's a lot of moments where you're like, ooh, but you kind of look past it, because you can see what the theme is, or what it means.
That's true.
There's moments in the prequels where you're like,
oh yeah,
but you know where it's going, and you know what the story is trying to tell you. So you just look past it. So that's kind of what I do for the sequels. True. Granted, I realize the only, Force Awakens and parts of Rise of Skywalker are what I can watch. I can't watch The Last Jedi, but Force Awakens was the closest thing to them trying to get something together, and then it all kind of went downhill from there. But it just seems like seeing wasted potential over and over again is really upsetting for me. So, I don't know. Are you able to watch the sequels just casually?
I have to admit, I have a whole new perspective on all of them after The Rise of Skywalker came out, and I feel like with the passage of time, I appreciate them more, and I have to admit, I can feel myself starting to appreciate The Last Jedi a lot more. In my opinion, that movie does a whole lot of character development work that helps to shape, the entirety of the sequel trilogy. I appreciate that movie now as for all of it, in my opinion now, looking back on it after seeing The Rise of Skywalker, which was just kind of go, 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 go from the beginning, gotta get to the end. There was not a second to breathe during that movie. The Last Jedi had a lot more going on in terms of framing the characters, and left us with so many questions. I walked out of The Last Jedi why do we still know nothing about Rey or her heritage, or why do I have more questions now than I did at the end? But I looking back on it now, appreciate it way more than I previously have, as to me it does a lot of the in-depth internal investigations into a lot of the characters. I feel that we don't get in The Rise of Skywalker, because it's just kind of way more action-packed, just scoot to the end.
Yeah, you can use you can literally use the first scene, the what do they call it? The jumping between worlds really fast.
Hyperspace.
Hyperspace skipping or something like that. Yeah, you could use that as an analogy for the way the whole story structure was.
Yeah.
It was just almost like they were doing that on purpose, because it's basically how they mix an entire trilogy of content into one movie, and
You're
just kind
wrong.
of just skip through so much stuff just to get it through. And that also just alone really hurt the story, the plot, everything about the Rise of Skywalker. And it's just it sucks. You have a company with unlimited budget, and you can't organize a story together.
I fluctuate much. When I saw The Rise of Skywalker, I loved it. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to go into this and not have a second of boredom, and I didn't. It was a roller coaster until the end, and I absolutely loved that so much. The theater experience was totally positive, and with the exception of Reylo kissing there at the end, I genuinely truly loved it when I first saw it. And I fluctuate so much with the sequel trilogy, so it's hard for me to pinpoint how I feel, and I try so hard not to Like, it's really hard not to, like, finish watching the movie, then go out into the world and see how everyone else feels about it, and then start to realize, oh, I guess they could have done this differently in this, and Anakin wasn't in it, and this, and no Force ghosts, and this, and this. Like, I definitely struggle a lot to, like, formulate my own opinions with, you know, just the influx of, you know, just chatter and noise from the rest of the fandom, because everyone has their own, you know, their thoughts and stuff. That's definitely...
It's also really...
No, you go ahead.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was just gonna go off that. I was gonna say, you know, as a result of all of that, you know, it makes it really tough to really look forward to, you know, the future of Star Wars. Even though, you know, the Mandalorian, you know, we know is gonna be well made because of who's behind it. But, you know, if you know, if there's gonna be more projects that are just as unorganized as that, you know, you just know exactly what you're gonna expect, and, you know, the fandom's gonna die. And I mean, there's gonna be people that are gonna see it, but it's not going to be as big as it was. You know, like, people going to see a Star Wars film was like sacred, and now it's like becoming like, oh, I mean, yeah, I guess I'll
like,
see
the
it.
fact that people didn't go to see Solo was mind-boggling to me. Like, no matter where I stand, there's never a point where I'm, like, disappointed in Star Wars. Like, regardless of the sequel trilogy and, you know, what people say, like, I would not use the word disappointment, because I'm just grateful to begin with that we even got a sequel trilogy. And yes, people have their opinions. I know there's some people who probably would prefer no sequel trilogy at all versus what we've got. But I am just grateful that we had any sort of content. And I, like, where was I even going with this? But the fact that there could even be a Star Wars movie and people being, like, reluctant to go see it. Or, like, the fact that people boycotted Solo, which was a phenomenal movie, and people just, like, true diehard Star Wars fans didn't go and see it because of the state of, you know, the fandom or whatever. Like, no matter how, even if I am disappointed, which, again, is not how I feel, is not my stance at all, it's Star Wars. Like, I will stand by it and appreciate it for what it is, and I can't imagine... The way I am now as a fan, like, I cannot imagine if a new movie was coming out, regardless of what it was. It could be about anything, and I would, if there's a Star Wars movie in theaters, I'm gonna go and see it. Like, I cannot wrap my head around that at all. Like, the fact that people, like, just wouldn't go and see a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, when I went, you know, funny when you bring up Solo. When I went to go see Solo with my bud, there was like 5 people in the theater. And I was just like, wow, this is actually happening. Like, I couldn't believe it. And I was like, it was just after watching it. Like, my buddy, you know, he's a Star Wars fan, but he's not, like, super big on it. Like, I mean, I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan, but, like, I don't have, like, the collectibles or, you know, the box sets or whatever. Like, I just, you know, appreciate the movies and the stories. So, like, I'm going to go see them regardless. But, like, I brought my buddy along who was, like, you know, in between, you know, I was like, oh, I guess I'll come see it. And, like, he left the movie theater. I was like, that was, like, really good.
Yes.
You know, like, I'm not, you know, the biggest Star Wars fan or whatever, but, like, that was really good. And it's, like, it was sad because, you know, as a result, you know, Disney made a lot of decisions based off of the way that film performed. And it wasn't a true reflection of the film because of what happened prior with The Last Jedi, you know? And, and then you can go off of the other... spin-off with Rogue One being super successful, which really branched off the hype for The Last Jedi. So, like, maybe if Solo came out, you know, before The Last Jedi or something, like, you know, it probably would have got, you know, really, like, it probably would have made a lot of money. It probably would have been really good. People would have probably talked about him. What's his face probably would have been more well-known now. But it just kind of tanked because of that. And it really shows you the power of, like, the consumer, though, in that regard. And I think Disney really is now taking that into account, and they're making decisions more carefully and not just thinking, like, oh, we'll make money, whatever. Yeah. You know, I'll just throw a lot of money at this. We'll put a lot of creative people out there, and, you know, we'll continue. Yeah,
no, I feel so bad for Solo and, like, everyone involved. Like, we have the same experience. We went, like, on the Thursday evening that it premiered, and it was us and, like 5 or 6 other people in the theater, and I was just like, is this real life? Like, how could this be happening? Like, it was just so disheartening, and especially because it was not a bad movie at all. Like, I would 100% say Rogue One is a better movie. That is just a phenomenal movie. But Solo was, like, so not deserving of the boycott that it received and all that. And that's just why I, like, it makes me sad that like Star Wars, like people just didn't go. But there could be a Star Wars movie in theaters, and the theater wouldn't be packed on like the opening night. Like that is just a sad thought to me.
Because I mean, it's Star Wars. Like just with this legacy alone, like it's going to carry it. But it's like the fact that that actually was successfully implemented from the fandom was just crazy to me. But I think what Disney doesn't realize is how much we really do like the prequels and how much they were trying to get rid of them. So now obviously they're bringing it back.
True, Kenobi.
And I wanted to bring up the whole thing of Hayden coming back
Please.
with Kenobi, which would be that
would be something else.
Yeah, how do you think he would like? Would it be like would it be like a flashback sequence where we would see like maybe like his inner turmoil a little bit more, or would it kind of be like what would you want to see in the Kenobi series if he was going to be in it? Have you thought about that?
I think flashbacks would be cool. However, I think obviously I don't predict that Kenobi or Vader cross paths between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. I don't think we'll see them like actually interact with each other, but I think it would be. There's no way that Anakin became Vader and wasn't trying to hunt down Kenobi. After what Kenobi did to him, I'm sure Anakin was like, where did he go? Where is he at? Like, what's he doing? I need to, as I'm trying to find the last of the Jedi in the galaxy and kill them, like, I have to find him. And, like, Anakin, I'm sure, was so hungry for vengeance because it was Kenobi who, like, put him in the suit and made him, put him in the Vader suit. So I think it would be interesting to see,
like if maybe like Kenobi's like able to just like outsmart him every time and he actually gets
or
close,
like just like Anakin trying to
because like they obviously never
exactly
meet.
Like they obviously their paths do not cross. I think it would diminish their encounter in A New Hope. So there's no way that they're gonna actually like come face to face or anything like that. But I think it would just be cool to see like Anakin and Palpatine, or even Palpatine just being like, you got to get over it and move on, or like, we've got other work to do, but Anakin just being like, I can't, and just like fixated. Like, he's definitely probably like starving for revenge. And so I think it would be cool to see, like, especially like, I don't know what the timeline will be, but, depending on how shortly after it follows up with Revenge of the Sith, I think especially, if it's supposed to be within a similar time frame, like shortly after, it would be so cool to see a ripe Vader still healing. Like, that would be so cool.
Yeah. Like there's so much they could do with it that like, it makes sense that they're like really trying to make sure that the script is good before they start production. Obviously, I think COVID really helps them kind of look back and realize, okay, now we have more time to really make this a good story. We're not on a time crunch anymore. Like we can actually really focus hard on making a good story. But I mean, like, it's just like the idea that they're bringing back like they're actually realizing that fans truly do like the new generation of fans, at least, or our generation of fans are big prequel fans because we grew up with them just like the other generation grew up with the original trilogy. The opportunity to kind of throw in, like they threw in Han Solo and Leia and everything for the other, like maybe it's our turn now to finally see, our generation of, like we can flash back with, maybe some Padme and Anakin scenes, or, just something to kind of bring back, like just like what we grew up with.
Yes,
really,
but also
really
pick
cool.
up on, because that has so much room for opportunity. And, Jamie Costa made that awesome Kenobi fan film. Like, Obi-Wan's story, like, definitely does not end and then pick up with A New Hope. Like, there is a lot of untapped potential, like you say, like potential there for, material, like, especially Kenobi, one of the most beloved characters. And I've said this before, it could literally just be each episode, just an hour of Ewan McGregor just chilling in the desert, eating sand for an hour long, and I'd still watch it because he's just that awesome. So, like, whatever it is, I'm excited and stoked. I'll take it for whatever it turns out to be. I cannot wait. So I highly doubt that I will be disappointed with it, whatever the Kenobi series turns into.
Yeah, I think really like what it kind of comes down to, like it almost doesn't even necessarily have to be like one of the greatest series or whatever of all time. It just has to like feel like a Star Wars thing, you know, and it can't be, you know, like inclusive for the sake of being inclusive. It should be inclusive for the sake of the story, you know, along with so many other things that seem the entertainment industry seems to want to shoehorn in to certain things to just, you know, because they, that's like kind of the political climate right now, is to shoehorn certain things in because, you know, they don't want to get in trouble or whatever. And I think that ends up hurting them no matter what. So I think if, as long as, you know, they find a way to, you know, be inclusive, which I'm all about, you know, you can have the diversity for sure. It's just, it needs to be a diversity for like that follows for the sake of the story and like the reasoning for the story, and like don't make like a cliche, you know, black character for the sake of a cliche black, like, you know what I mean? Like have it be like have it assimilate all together, you know, and like it doesn't have to be about race, it doesn't have to be about anything, because it's like Star Wars, it's like a galaxy far, far away. Like there's politics, but it's like it's not our politics. Like they shouldn't have to, you know, cater to the political climate or whatever that we're dealing with here, because, you know, the way I see it is movies are an escape into something else. So I don't want to be reminded of all the issues that we have back here in, you know, a series that I really enjoy. So
well, I feel like I personally don't think Mandalorian crossed over in any of that territory. I don't think there was a second of watching Mandalorian when I was like, this felt social justice-y. And I have to admit, I am not like, I'm fine with like, I don't mind social justice. I think it's worth, like, if you've got the platform and the audience, I think it's worth it to like try to, you know, advance diversity and like feminism and filmmaking. Like I'm not opposed to that at all. I don't watch a movie and see like hints of social justice creep in and like this film's ruined for me. Like, so I have to admit that doesn't bother me. But I, as someone who doesn't mind that stuff, didn't notice it at all in Mandalorian. Like I don't feel it at all in like the final season of Clone Wars. I was never like, this was totally an agenda. Like neither of those two.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my god, that was so good.
Yes, oh, for sure.
Like, oh my god. But I can full-heartedly agree with you though. Like Mandalorian, like totally, like nailed the head on the coffin with, you know, bringing back old fans, but also like re-inviting new fans coming in, because like they're stories that we don't really know about anyway. You know, so it kind of introduced like the kind of ominous, like, you know, ever changing ambiance of Star Wars. And it also did it in a very fun and lighthearted, you know, Western way, which was so much fun, you know, and like changing things up is always really good too, because, you know, I just think that if you try to like stick to a formula and then like, okay, point A, point B, and then like in between here, let's throw this thing in there because, you know, we're probably going to get yelled at if we don't include this. It's like, I think that just is really dumb. I think it just totally destroys the whole idea of being creative and whatever. But Clone Wars and Mandalorian totally did it right. I think if they can learn a thing or two from Dave Filoni and that team to really make a good story in the Star Wars universe. I think that along with, you know, what I just said previously would really, you know, nail it in the head with whether or not the Kenobi series can be successful or not. And you know, like you said, you were bringing up a point earlier about how like you're just grateful for new content. Like I'm kind of the same way in how I see like whether it's good or bad. Like I just like being back in the fandom, you know, and seeing like a bunch of stuff in production and seeing like the way that they're able to handle the franchise thus far, aside from like the films, like seems to be working out. So I mean, it just seems like obviously the future for Star Wars is great because they kind of learned their lesson.
No, I'm so optimistic about the future of Star Wars and all of the rumored shows. Like, you know, we still have the Cassian series, the Bad Batch, Kenobi, like, not to mention the three, you know, unannounced or untitled movies that are, you know, the dates that they just, you know, announced coming out in the next, like, decade or whatever. Like, there's so much to look forward to. And, like, I am not one to be like, I hate the sequels, so I'm not excited. I'm like, I don't care how you felt about the sequels. Like, how Star Wars is, like, alive and, like, thriving, like love, hate, or the sequels, like whatever you feel. Like Star Wars is, and with Disney Plus, like Star Wars is, it's making it's like a comeback. It's about to, it's about to like just like blow up, I feel like. And so I'm just like, regardless of how I felt about the movies or, you know, the shows or whatever, like I'm just excited for like anything, whatever we get. Like I'm just grateful that it's even happening, and then I'm getting to like live in a time when Star Wars like isn't dormant, and it just like it totally is coming back in like full force.
Yeah, and then we can, you know, obviously go back and give disclaimers to, you know, our kids and everything about how like, hey, you know, like the sequel trilogy, you know, it's prequel trilogy, but like you have to like understand like there's things about these that are really great, and it really highlights, it brings out the universe that was created from the original trilogy. So, yeah, I think it's good. I think it's going to be really exciting, and I just look forward to being able to, you know, create more content around all of it too, because like they're changing a lot of things now too. They're adding a lot of things. They're just, it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah, that's true for you. I didn't even think about that from your standpoint. Like you'll have more material to work with.
Yeah, you know, I was actually thinking about that the other day. I'm like, am I gonna always be a Star Wars channel, or am I gonna have to start going into like Lord of the Rings or something? Because you know how they're coming out with a series and
literally the same.
And you know, I'm like, I guess I can.
No, that's so true.
Like, I guess I can because you know they announced.
Well, you make your Game of Thrones content. You make other content. You've got your Game of Thrones. You have those Avatar kind of trailers, which so excited for that live action series. But like you.
Yeah, hopefully they don't make the same mistake.
I know. I can't even talk about the live action movie. That was just yeah. No, I'm super hopeful about that. Considering I'm pretty sure the original like Avatar creators and team are working on that, right? Pretty sure. So
yeah, and you know this is actually an interesting point about Avatar. I was going to bring up. I was actually going to talk to you about this the other day. The head writer. Aaron Ehas or whatever is actually like kind of the main guy that crafted the story, and the creators are just animators. So that is why you see what I'm saying. Like the story of The Last Airbender, like the good one, was really kind of directed by like the lead writer, which no one really talks about for some reason, because he had nothing to do with Legends of Korra, and everyone was talking about how Legends of Korra really lacks the whole Avatar feeling, and it makes sense because the lead writer who made The Last Airbender wasn't, you know, a part of that. It was just the creators. So that's why it's raising questions now whether or not they can really like not only do it well with the live action, but to, you know, be able to tell the story in a good way. And we also can go back to the whole thing about disappointments with franchises. Being like The Last of Us, if any of you guys know what The Last of Us is. Well, The Last of Us was kind of a failure.
I wouldn't say failure.
There's a lot of stuff. Well, okay. Graphically and, you know, playability wise, you know, obviously the highest of high, but you know, there's some aspects of like the story that was just like, why? Yeah. You know, like why couldn't you like you're spending all this time on it, why do you have to do that? And then obviously also, why does it have to be that way? Like why couldn't it have been, you know, obviously you can't cater to everyone, but it's like it seemed like a pretty worldwide kind of opinion on the whole idea of, you know, the big thing happening, and it's like, why did you have to go down that route? And then you can raise the question about all the other everything else that's been going on right now in a lot of franchises that are letting everyone down, like Blizzard with their games and
I know,
you know,
it's kind of like, why can't we count on anything anymore to not like let us down? I don't know. I definitely part 2 was not what I was expecting. Not what it was, you know, cracked out to be, I don't think. But I definitely, this is the thing, I try to, like, appreciate the parts of it that I, like, did enjoy, and, like, the messages. I try to, like, try to interpret and digest the messages that they are trying to send by framing the story the way that they did. And I do appreciate the kind of overarching message, which is like, you know, in a post-apocalyptic world in which there is still so much division, and it's like the world experienced like zombie apocalypse and people are still torn against each other and taking sides, and there's still a lack of unity. And in that kind of setting and climate, it's like, you know, thirst for revenge maybe isn't worth it, or it's like it's maybe not what we should be thinking about.
Or it's just weird that it's just weird that like there's like you said, in a world where it's like all of that's going on, it's just weird that, you know, someone would have time to think about, you know, like what morality is the real thing. Like, who has time to think about what's right and wrong when you're killing people all the time? And it's just weird. Like there's a lot of messages in there that just don't really make sense with like the world building and like what has led up to everything. And it just seems like a lot of like these high-end studios and high-end franchises are just kind of losing touch with you know, storytelling, or like they're skipping whatever, or they're on like a time budget or whatever. Like they were working on that for like 4 years and they couldn't come up with a better story than that. And it's just whatever.
I agree with you. The graphics were amazing. There were some redeeming qualities about it, but I mean, you're so right. There's definitely parts that were like, I don't want to play through this. I don't want to do this at all. Why are they making us like play this? Like, but overall I thought it was from a storytelling experience, loved it. People were roasting it. It was getting inflamed for like the storytelling, but I personally loved the way that they, you know, framed the game, and with the flashbacks, and then, you know, making you play as Ellie for the first half, and then you play as Abby. And I know that people were angry about that because it's trying to humanize her. And I as the viewer enjoy when a game like kind of puts a mirror in front of my face and is like, why do you want her to die so badly? Why are you trying to like kill her? It forces you to look at yourself and your own where you stand, and it makes me like realize like, oh my gosh, like you play as Ellie and then you know kill a lot of people on the way, and then you play as Abby and you realize like those were other human beings with lives, and it just kind of it makes you face yourself. Like, as angry as it made me to play as like Abby in that way, like I love when it kind of turns the camera on you like that, and it's like, look at your mindset. Like, what are you thinking right now that you're playing as Abby and seeing the lives unfold of the people that you just killed, you know, as Ellie.
Yeah, definitely. And like, there's certain subtleties that really kind of play into that whole thing too. Like a lot of storytelling now, it just seems like they're just trying to, you know, like they think the audience is so dumb that they gotta like spell it out for you and say everything, like, you know what I mean? Like they're reading from a book or something. And it's just subtle cues that you can pick up just from like facial structures and just, you know, like, I don't know, like showing, not telling is kind of a big thing in storytelling like, that's really successful, and with the medium of film, because you can show, you know, it's not a book, like you can show them subtle cues just in facial structures and everything, with especially new technology nowadays. It seems like a lot of the writing from that was just like oh hey. Remember that, like, I'm gonna go jump in this thing like I did that one time a long time ago when I was this. It's like you don't really have to talk like that. You can just have like one line that kind of can reminisce back to like, you know, what that means. Like people who know about the story are gonna know what he's, you know what I'm like. It seems like they were trying not only to spell it out for the audience, but also try to, you know, spell it out for people who may not know, which is kind of, I think, wrong in a way to handle a sequel. Like you should kind of build off of what you already have. Make it so like the, you know, the awesome, you know, religious fans are like immersed even more in like the new world, and because it's really, it takes you out of it really when the writing is like, for things. Because in a way, the last stuff is really like, you know, like a feature film. You know, like it kind of built its reputation off of its writing.
Incredible storyline.
So when the writing, it wasn't the graphics. They seem to put a lot of attention on the graphics and how it looks, which is like kind of what kind of seems to be the trend now. Like Last Jedi, for example, beautiful. Like it looks visually, so good. Like I don't know if there's another film visually that actually looks that good, in like the way the cinematography looks, the coloring. A lot of almost everything about that visually was just so nice to look at. But you know, the most important thing, the story, was like pretty flat and erratic, which, you know, made the visuals not as good anymore. And it's like, it's upsetting. You know.
No, that's a good point. Like, if you have such a great franchise, you know, going off of Last of Us Part 1, it's like you want to build off of that and not erase everything that everyone loved about the previous game and have to like start all over. Like, it definitely, I guess that's the biggest disappointment for me. The second one didn't exactly build much off of the first one, and it kind of there was potential for an alternative storyline that would have been a little more satisfying for people who, you know, diehard fans of Part 1. Definitely, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I actually got a comment here. They said The Last of Us 2 is great. An eye for an eye makes the world too blind. And obviously, you know, that's a good point. Like, you don't ever want to start violence with violence. But the whole argument here is that, you know, in a world like that, like a dystopian world like that, like, you don't think about that in a civilized, like, you think about that in civilized society. Like, in civilized society, you're obviously going to be like, like, you have all these options, like, you're safe, you're whatever. Like, here it's like you're literally on your own. Like, you don't know who to trust. You have to survive. That's why it's a survival horror game.
Yeah.
Like, you're literally surviving. You're not worrying about morality. You're not worried about the overarching, you know, the overarching theme to what would happen if I do this, because, you know, you're just trying to survive. So I know where you're coming from, and it's definitely a valid argument, but not in this case, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, no, when you're dealing with something so beloved like that, it's definitely hard to try to, like, especially because the first game doesn't really, I mean, it deals with morals a little bit in terms of, you know, Joel's, you know, decision that he makes there at the end, but it's definitely, the whole premise of the game is just killing and slaying and don't trust anyone else. You have to pretty much just, like, do what you can to stay alive, essentially.
Yeah.
And the second game is more so like, well, have mercy on other people, kind of. So, yeah. No, you make a good point. You make a good point there.
Yeah, it definitely is a good point. But on that, I want to, you know, segue into you. If you want to, like we've been on for about an hour 25, we can maybe like end like pretty soon. If you want to go and read your chat and maybe go through anything that they want to.
I did see. I had a super chat of a couple like totally buried that I missed. Let me see. Scrolling. Oh, never mind. Let's see. Yeah, I'm definitely behind on the chat. Sorry, guys. I haven't. My previous streams, I know I'm definitely way more chat oriented. From Aiden, I think I missed this one. I gotta go soon. Great stream, really interesting stuff. Thank you for everything. Also, Last of Us 2 is game of the year for me. I loved it. Oh, Aiden, I'm so glad you could be here. And I'm glad to hear that you liked The Last of Us 2. Yeah, it's definitely was, I feel like, mixed reception from the fandom. But it was, I'm glad to hear that people like it. Yeah, I definitely did not hate it, but
people are more than entitled to love it. You know, we're not going to hate you for liking something. It's just opinions here. You know, it's literally just opinions. That's what it's all about. Open discussion.
Yeah. What is y'all's best PS4 game? I mean, Battlefront. Yeah. That's all I really play. I mean, I loved The Last of Us Part 1, though. That was, and I am super. Like, I didn't play that game for, like, the gameplay. I played it for, like, the story. So I'm super, I'm, as someone who stinks at gaming, I loved Last of Us Part 1 for just the storyline and the experience. It was incredible.
So there's a question for you here, actually. Obi was asking, what was it like meeting Vader in person?
Oh, as in, like, Dupree and his...
Like, yeah. Well, I guess, I think it's more like what was like seeing him in the costume.
Oh, it was...
Like, because it obviously was a really... I know we addressed this earlier, but I know it was probably a really, like, expensive, nice, like, obviously authentic-looking costume. Yes.
His costume is legit. And one thing that I wasn't expecting is that it takes him, like, half an hour to put it all on. Like, it has a lot of pieces to it, and it was just, like, such a process, him transforming into it. But once he's in the costume with his boots on, Dupree is tall to begin with, in or out of the Vader costume. He's like over 6 foot. I think without the suit, he's like 6'3". In the suit, he is like a giant. And I am a midget. I am 5'2". I shouldn't say that. I know that's an offensive word. I am short. I am 5'2". Yeah,
little person.
So I literally, my tiny little self standing next to him, it's like horrifying. It really is intimidating. Like, it's so fun, and I think every Star Wars fan should get to stand next to Darth Vader at some point, because it's just so like surreal, and I fangirled so much. But it's also like straight up scary if you're like me and you're short and he could literally step on you and crush you. But yeah, it was incredible. I'm so jealous of like Dupree's, like, not that I could cosplay as Vader, but like Dupree has such an incredible, like oh my gosh, like he's got an amazing collection of, his cosplay, and he really takes it to like the next level, like so legitimate. But it's definitely, we always joke about this, like filming the scene with where Padme hugs Vader. That was like the most awkward thing. It was so like hard trying to like get around his helmet. Like, I guess that's the other thing. Like,
I actually got a question.
Go ahead.
I actually got a question from that about that. They wanted like it was off of what you were saying. They wanted to ask what that whole process was like ask her about how awkward the hugging was, and I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to ask you that at the time, but that was a while ago.
Oh gosh,
so
no, yeah, it was.
But so go ahead and go on a tangent.
It was hard. Like it was definitely a moment that was like, you write it in the script and you're like, all right, we'll see how this goes. And then we saw how it went and we were like, we've got to work around this. It was like, that scene definitely took us like a couple of takes because it's just so not natural at all. And it's just, yeah, it was funny. It was strange. I was trying to like dodge his helmet or like not smear my makeup like on his helmet, which is like ginormous, by the way. Like, it's just so crazy how different it looks in the movies and on camera versus when you see the actual costume in real life and realize the Vader helmet is like this big. It's like massive. I think actually Merrick tried it on at one point and he was so top heavy with it. It was hilarious. But yeah, no, that was it. We definitely had to do a couple takes for that scene, but we were all kind of like cracking up about it. It was funny. It was a good time.
And then you can go ahead. I have one question for me. You can go ahead and if there's any questions like in general in your chat, you can actually chat for some questions, and we can do a little Q&A or something for a little bit right now. So Inferno asks, who are your favorite Star Wars creators and editors? I was addressing this earlier. I was gonna say, one of Kat's personal favorites. Heroes Fan Productions for sure. Super talented, one of my favorites. Garo Studios also, amazing content. And then War Leader, obviously very talented. War Leader. Darth Porg, also very.
Oh my gosh! Yes, Darth Porg.
Dude, he came out of nowhere too. Like, I remember, like, I saw him. He commented on one of my videos a long time ago, and I just remembered that name because I thought it was so funny. And then all of a sudden, I got a notification about a video from him. I was like, oh, that guy makes content. And then I watched it. And then like after that video, I don't remember what. I think it was a Maul video.
Oh, Maul Hatred.
He made something. Yeah, was that him? That was him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I watched that, and I was like, wow, this guy is so good, man. And now he just keeps producing, A+.
Yes, everything he touches is phenomenal. Yeah, the first thing I saw of his was Victory and Death. And I was like, why have I not seen this channel before? This stuff is awesome.
Oh, that one was good, too. Yeah,
like, he kind of came out of the blue. I mean, I'm sure he's been making content. I don't know. Is he? I just vote for him as they.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Assuming, yeah,
I don't know their identity, but they their stuff is. Their Darth Maul video is one of my favorite things. Like, it's just they make awesome stuff. I have to watch more of their stuff. That's not a question I want to ask you though. Like, do you remember who? Like, how did you come into the editing scene, or like did something just pop up on your YouTube feed, or like did you seek out an editing video, or like did you just watch one? Like, what, if you can remember, like, is there a specific video or a channel that you watched that you were like, I want to try this out?
I think I started before Rogue One came out.
Okay.
I think 6 months before Rogue One came out, and people were posting fake trailers for it, concept trailers.
Okay.
And I was like, or like maybe it was for The Last Jedi too. A lot of people were doing that. One in particular that I remember was Terra Stone. I don't know if you know who that is. He used to be really big on the scene. Still a good. I used to collab with him. I'm still a good buddy. I talk to him every now and then. He so engages all the time on my content. Really nice guy. From Australia. Yeah, but I remember I saw one of his videos and I was like, wow, he's pretty good at this. I feel like I could probably do that. I was so naive. I had no idea like what really goes into making like a good trailer. Just sound editing alone was like a huge thing that I learned over the years, like just sound editing. But I thought his stuff was really good, and then I saw The Chosen one. And that was when I was like, you know what? I got to do this. I gotta form my own narrative here, because I remember watching that and I was like, this is great, but there's certain things that I would have highlighted more so, or certain things I would have cut down, or just like I would have like I usually put more emphasis on Padme Anakin more so than most tributes. I don't know if you noticed that.
Which
I really like their
appreciate.
dynamic. I really like their stories so much. Yeah, and like I'm like a one of those romantic dudes, so it's like I really like a good like love story. So it was like I kind of really dove deep into that and kind of highlighted Padme and Anakin's side over the overarching Anakin turning to the dark side. Using that as like the ultimate thing, because me personally, I'd probably turn pretty evil if the person I loved the most were to face death, or like have premonitions that she's gonna die. Like I'd probably be really messed up. So
that's a good point.
Yeah. I'd have to say definitely it was Terra Stone and or even Garro Studios too. I there was like a bunch of like those creators that I was watching those, and I was like, I could totally just do this because I don't have to worry about being on camera and worrying about stream quality and everything in my voice and whatever. But I kind of got over that after a while. But it was definitely those guys that made me go into it. Okay, so there's a question for both of us. What was it that got you into Star Wars and how it became part of your lives? Thanks, you're both talented and can't wait to see future vids from you both. Oh, thanks, Nick. You the man. Now, you want to answer first?
Sure. Honestly, I guess I attribute it to my parents who showed us the movies when we were all young. We've got the OG trilogy on a VHS. But yeah, my earliest memories are just watching the prequel trilogy, especially with my brothers. And like every single time we would go to like our grandparents' house and visit them, like there would always be a Star Wars like marathon on like TNT or something. Like, so I definitely like started watching the movies with my brothers, and they're both like big fans. So those are my earliest memories of it. And I think when I was little, I was just obsessed with Anakin and like Padme. Like I still do want to marry Anakin. He's my first love. So that I attribute a lot of my love for Star Wars to my 8-year-old infatuation with Anakin, and being so just like I have a clear, vivid memory of watching Revenge of the Sith, and I'm like an idiot. So like I can't remember what I watched first, prequel or original trilogy, but so I didn't realize that Anakin was bound to be Darth Vader. Like that didn't click with me. Again, I was also like 9, so I wasn't making that connection. And so I remember watching Revenge of the Sith and being like, what is happening? This can't be real. And Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting, and I'm just like, why is this happening? And my older brother was just like, you do know that he turns into Darth Vader, right? Like, Anakin becomes Darth Vader. And I remember just being heartbroken, like, oh my gosh. And my brother warning me that, like, you might want to close your eyes for this next scene when Anakin is getting burned. Like, that was a traumatic experience for my young self. So, like, that's maybe my oldest and most vivid, like, Star Wars memory, like, as a kid.
Yeah, I was crying in the theater for with Revenge of the Sith. But my earliest memory and what really kind of I think got me into Star Wars was I remember a long time ago when I think this is when Phantom Menace like came out on video. I think it was like 2002 ish, something like that. I was like six. I think I was like 6 or 7. I was with my cousins and we were eating like pork and beans or something, and like they were all way older than I was, and they were watching it. And I was just sitting there watching, and I was like I remember like my first memory of it was watching the Potters, and that it was Phantom Menace. So it was like I was like I looked so cool. Like I was like these little like impressionable kid, and like the graphics were really good for that for that time, and they still hold up pretty well right now, And I just remember watching that, and I was like, this is so cool. And I'm like, are they all like? I remember I was asking them, I'm like, are they dying? Like are they like all the everything was crashing and blowing up. I'm like, oh my god, are they all dead? And I remember that so vividly in my brain watching that. And then since then I've just been, along with the Legos and everything, I was just such a big Star Wars fan as a kid.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Nick, I'm aware. Yeah, Phantom Menace came out in '99, but like it was out on video and by like 2001 or 2002. So that's what I'm referring to. I didn't see it in the theater because I was too young, I guess, at the time, and my parents didn't take me to see it. But I saw it then, and then after that, I went and saw Attack of the Clones, obviously, and then Revenge of the Sith, which I just could not handle. I could not handle that movie as a kid. I think I was like 8 or 9.
It's traumatic.
And I remember watching that. Like, it was weird because I went in there knowing what was going to happen, and it was still so upsetting watching it.
Yeah.
Like, it was, oh man, it just hit me so hard. And then I remember my dad was asking me, he was like, you knew it was going to happen. I'm like, I know.
See, I didn't even know.
Like
You
so
were at
sad.
least smarter than me.
Like I remember like specifically it was like I had such a huge thing for Padme, like the way you do, or for Anakin. Like I'm pretty sure everyone looked down on Portman then, regardless. Like she's so beautiful in like so many ways. But like her, like she was like an example of like a good strong female character back then too, which was what was like so what struck me so much about how like why I don't like a lot of the characters that are portrayed now. It's not that like I don't think females should be strong characters. It's just that that's not the way to do it. The way a lot of things are.
Well, who was it? Was it you that was like, I heard recently somewhere, it might have been from you, that like she's such an awesome character because she's paired up against Anakin and Obi-Wan, who are two amazing male characters as well, and she's right up there with them, and like you don't have to diminish or degrade either Anakin or Obi-Wan or make them like mute compared to her. Like they are their own amazing characters also. Like they're great heroes, and she is right up there amongst the ranks with them. And I loved that as a kid, and I always say this, that's why Attack of the Clones is my favorite, because she has so much screen time in that one, and also does like, she is a boss. Like the Geonosis arena is maybe like one of my favorite scenes in all of Star Wars, and it's because Padme like gets out there and slays, and being a little girl watching that when I'm
with those abs too.
The Geonosis crop top look, she just was she gets slashed in the back but she keeps going. Like I just remember loving that scene as a kid, specifically because like Padme is like has no fear at all, and that's why I love her in the Clone Wars. Like they expand so much on how much of a boss she is in that show. I'm ranting because I just love her, but yeah, no, I agree. If I would have a crush on her, I mean I do. I totally have a girl crush on her for sure. There's a question for you.
Oh, so.
Somebody Knight of the Force wants to know for you, AD, did you play any of the Jedi Knight games? Oh, I lost it. And would you like to see it remastered?
Any of the Jedi Knight games, like the really really old ones, or like the Knights of the Old Republic? If you're referring to like the really old like Jedi Academy ones, I remember playing those like on like PlayStation or something. I didn't play a whole lot of them because I wasn't really old enough to really play those games really, because I don't know, like my parents were pretty strict up until I was like 11, and they just were like whatever. But around the time when all those games were out, I just wasn't really playing them. I think the most recent memory I have of playing a Star Wars game was Battlefront 2. Everything before that is a blur, but I remember Jedi Academy, and like I remember the sword fights on that game were like way ahead of their times, and it's like comparing it to the way you fight in Heroes vs. Villains and Battlefront 2, being like all weird and whatever. I would love to see like that combat into like the new graphics and everything that are nowadays for sure. If that answers your question. I didn't really play a whole lot of the really old games, but Battlefront and everything, I've always been a fan of Battlefront.
I also missed out on the Knights of the Old Republic generation. However, I recently learned that that game is on iPad. Someone recently told me that Knights of the Old Republic is available, at least a version of it.
Oh, it probably
is on
iPad,
honestly, which I need to play. I want to watch like the cinema like storyline trailers that are, you know, all over YouTube for it, like just the kind of the plot line. But I also, since I learned that, I'm like, I gotta get home and steal my dad's iPad for a hot minute and play. I missed a super chat here from Chris A. Chris, thank you for your donation. And I think you sent another one earlier and I lost it, but thank you. Would you be interested in doing a Star Wars themed hypnosis reaction? I asked earlier. Sorry, yeah, I missed it. I apologize. I do online hypnotism if interested. Truthfully, I'm a little bit scared of hypnotism. I think it's cool, and I appreciate the suggestion, but I might hold off for now. Thank you, though. I will let you know.
Yeah, that stuff kind of freaks me out, too.
Because like, I've... You know, you see videos where it, like, actually, like, works on people. I think when I was, like, when I was a senior going into college at my orientation, you know, where they force you to, like, stay overnight for a night and you pick all your classes and stuff. Our entertainment for the evening, they brought in, like, a hypnotist. And he brought in kids from the crowd and, like, actually, like, made, like... It, like, worked. I don't know if it was the kids just, like, going along with it for the show, but he, like, picked random kids from the crowd, and it looked like he was...
Yeah, it happens out there, too.
So, and that's why I'm a little bit, like, I don't know if I don't know if I want to lose control of my conscience like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, not to, like, bash his comment or anything or what he does. Like, no, by no means, it's not you. It's just, like, personally for me, like, that stuff just, like, I don't want to, I don't know, it just freaks me out. It's kind of like, I see it the same way as, like, using, like, a Ouija board or something. I just don't want to do it.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, there's another question here to Kat. What's your favorite edit from AT Edits? What is your favorite edit?
I mean, I love your Game of Thrones videos, you know that, but I think the latest one that I just watched, I love your Anakin and Kylo Ren bloodline. I loved your the one that you put out fresh after the Rise of Skywalker, Anakin and Kylo Ren, The Fallen. Like, your videos that parallel Anakin and Kylo, and I always rant about this every time I watch one of them. They make me appreciate the sequel trilogy so much more. They make me want to go and, like, watch the sequel movies. Like, and I openly admit this, like, my brain doesn't, when I watch a movie, I have to, especially for the first time, I have to just ingest everything as it's coming in, and that's how I absorb it all, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, this is just like Anakin, or like, oh my gosh, the storylines are so similar, like, blah, 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 like, my brain just does not work that way until I watch people's edits after the fact, and you guys piece everything together for the rest of us who can't mentally do that when we watch the movies, and you're like, here you go, look at this, look at how similar this all is, look at all these parallels and, you know, juxtapositions and compare and contrast, and that's why I love your Anakin and Kylo Ren kind of parallel videos, because they just paint the picture that I just miss whenever I actually watch the movies. So that's why I'm obsessed with those edits, and I appreciate them because they make me, like, love the sequels a little bit more, which, like, you know, I'm totally up for. So it's like, I just appreciate that those videos in particular make me want to, like, go and watch the sequel trilogy and, like, pick up on these things that I miss when I actually watch them.
Well, I appreciate that for sure. I mean, that's obviously my goal. Like, I want to make those stories look really good, you know, and I think the potential was there. And I think with just some pretty simple editing, you know, you can make a really cool story and shape it the way you want. That's why I like editing so much too. 'Cause, like, you could film something, but, like, you could make it look completely different than our original vision for how you filmed it just with editing. So it's like, that's what's so cool about it. It's like really true art in a way. You can really create your own narrative, your own vibe, your own everything, and it's just a beautiful thing. So like I appreciate
well,
that.
I
for
like
sure.
that point that you make about like editing, and you made it before. Like what inspired you to do it is that you have your own narrative that you want to like put out, like watching other people's stuff, but then you're like, this is what I get from it, and this is what I want to like share with everyone else, and that's what I think that's just like that's like so cool. Like if I had any editing skills at all, like because I watch so many of these edit videos, like or these tributes, like I wish I knew how to make this stuff, because I would love to try it and like do it myself. I know I couldn't. I won't even attempt it because I know I just don't have the skill set for that, nor the editing software to begin with. But that's like, I appreciate that so much, that you, like, everyone picks up on different kind of narratives or different kind of bits of the story, and when you frame it the way you do and present it to, you know, your viewers and your subscribers, it's like, I just love seeing the way fans frame it, because it totally puts it through a different lens.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I'm my own worst enemy, so I never really think what I put out is good enough anyway. So the fact that there's people that really enjoy it and really appreciate it, that's my ultimate goal, really. So, yeah. I mean, and then to branch off of that topic, there are a couple things, like I said, I really am really happy that I created, like I put into like a reel, etc. Like with this question they're asking, what's my own favorite video that I produced? And I would have to say my crown jewel on my channel would either have to be The Broken Promise,
yes,
which was Anakin. I think that's probably like the best thing I personally that I feel like I've ever edited. Alongside, you know, maybe one of my modern trailers, and even the video that's coming out this week, I'd have to say probably
I'm
top
so
3 right
excited.
There. So
I have to react to it.
It's gonna be really cool.
I
have to say it's gonna be really
whenever it comes
cool.
out. I'm so excited.
I hope it takes off
too.
Supposedly Friday, if everything doesn't crash.
Okay. Oh yes. Did something happen with when you told me earlier that you like lost some stuff or whatever? Was that from that project, or like something happened with your computer and you like lost a few things?
Yeah, it was like the project file was still there. All the edits were still there. It's just all the media was unlinked.
No.
So I had to re-encode all of the videos like 150 times or whatever, because that's how many episodes there are. There might be more than that or less. I don't even know. There were so many that you have to re-encode, because like have them in MKV, which is a format that can't be read in Premiere, only MP4s and among other things. But yeah, I had to completely re-encode it into MP4s and then re-link everything, which took, you know, two extra days that didn't need to happen. But I just got War Leaders part that I just put in this morning. So now yeah, I'm really excited.
I don't think I've ever watched I watched one other collaboration video, which was the Doodoo Films. Oh, what was it? Anakin Skywalker.
Is he the guy who puts narration?
Yes, I watched. Yes, which I thought was sick. And I watched one of his videos. I forget, Sith Rain, I think, is the other channel that he did that with. I'm totally blanking on the name of the video that I watched. But I've only ever watched one other collaboration. That's the point. So I'm very curious to see, like, just how it turns out, like a collaborative effort from two awesome channels whose content I love from both of you guys. So I'm just prepare for a hero with no fear. Thank you, Charlie. It was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, the Doodoo film, Anakin Skywalker, the hero with no fear.
Oh, Charlie's here. Charlie came over on my channel too and is giving me some love.
Charlie is the man, the myth, the legend. I love Charlie. Charlie's always awesome. It is not a stream without Charlie. Once Charlie's here, it's a party for sure. But yeah, shout out to all of you who've been able to be here. I know this is a different time than I usually stream, but I'm hoping that the earlier time was able to accommodate some more people, since it's for Europeans now. Oh, it's past midnight now for them. Never mind. So, but
yeah, they probably sleep. Any other questions on your end?
Let's see. I saw one for you. Someone, Dirt Overlord, wants to know: is it difficult to make your tributes and such?
I mean, that's just such a loaded question because I mean, there's some things about it that are easy, but there's also a lot of things about it that are like really hard. And I'd say like the most difficult part about it is figuring out how you're gonna do it. Like like what what is the tribute gonna entail? What message is it gonna deliver? Am I gonna go for like a gritty thing? Am I gonna go for like, more of like a character arc thing, or am I going to go for like one certain aspect of the characters, or am I going to go for all of it? And I kind of really go into the idea. Okay, now after I establish that, what am I going to do for music? And then it goes into the like once all of that's set up, then I'm kind of in my element, and I can just start kind of putting scenes together based off of the pacing and the dialogue and everything. But I'd have to say it's pretty hard, man, from a creative aspect, at least from someone who kind of understands, I guess story like a good story and how to craft a good story, and what it takes to really like what scenes it takes to really establish themes and motifs. And I don't know, there's just like I don't even really know how to explain all of it because there's so much that goes into it. But yeah, the overarching theme is it's very hard.
Well, also, and like
but there's parts of it
like
that can
you
be really
just
easy.
said, though, your preliminary medium is technology, which can have its technology can like sabotage your entire thing totally, or like if you lose files, or if your computer just decides to crash, or if your memory isn't like it doesn't work or whatever, like that's the whole other obstacle to it. Not to mention that staring at a screen for an extended period of time like you do for like hours on end when you're up editing, like is so exhausting and draining.
I mean, yeah, because like literally, like I was like a college athlete and just an athlete pretty much like my entire life. So going from that to now editing all the time and not really going out and working out or playing tennis or football or whatever, it's like that was kind of hard to get used to too. So like there's like the mental and psychological aspect of sitting down and editing, as well as hearing the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You have to really love it, I would say. To really kind of be a YouTuber in this field, I think you have to really love it.
And that's a good point.
Because it's all about
That's
consistency.
a good point that you made, and I can relate to this from like art school and making like a painting or working on an art project in college. It's like same with your edits or your tributes or your trailers, whatever you're making and working on for hours on end. It's like you're staring at the same thing for so long. And like, let me know if this happens for you. Like you start off confident and you're like, this is going great. I'm having a great time. Give it a couple hours after you've been working on it, staring at the same thing, haven't looked away from the same project. You hit a wall and you're kind of just like, this is maybe not as good as I thought it was. Or you like start second guessing, or you're just questioning, or you're just kind of just going mad because you haven't walked away and like gotten a breath of fresh air from looking or like working out on this thing. And it's just kind of like, it's a good point that you made. Like you're just looking at the same stuff, and then it just that kind of sometimes just leads you to like just question everything and be like, do I have to go back and just like restart this whole thing?
Oh, dude, there's literally so many times where I've worked on something for days even, and then like I go back and look at it and I'm like, this was such a bad song choice, or like this really doesn't even work anymore. Like what was I even thinking? Because like a rule of thumb for editors, for those of you who want to edit, generally is never edit after midnight, because you're not really you get in that creative funk where it's like you don't really, you're just like editing to finish instead of editing to think. So you're just like, throwing things together and whatever, and you're just wasting time anyway. So you should really get a good night's sleep and get started later. Like when you wake up, when you have a fresh mind and like you can like a fresh perspective and you had rest, because, editing after midnight for me has never worked out. So now that's my new kind of perspective and rule of thumb, because there's so many times where I've literally, edited something and then all of a sudden, like it's just completely different like a week later when I released it. Like it's like it wasn't at all how it started. It wasn't at all how I had it originally. And then I just, that's part of the creative process though. Like a lot of things change like as you're going. Like scripts change, like in the film industry, things change all the time. So you got to be ready for adaptability.
Now, do you? I used to be so guilty of this in school, and sometimes with my videos now, like. I'm obviously not an editing whiz, and my videos like don't rely on editing as much as like your content does. But like sometimes I reach a point, And this used to happen to me in school all the time when you're working on a project for so long and you're just ready. You're just hashtag done. You're ready to just walk away from it and get it over with, and you just want to publish it and be done with it. Do you ever get bits of like self-sabotage where you're just like, all right, let me just rush. I just have to finish this. Let's just rush the end, throw this in and get it together because I am just so done with this. I'm done with this project. I'm done with this video. I need to just start something new. So let's just quickly finish this and scoot out of here and just start the next thing. Like, does that ever happen to you, or do you care more about your content to do that?
Well, like I'm starting to kind of fall into the idea of quality over quantity because I wanted to make sure I could always post something every week. And sometimes I was just forcing stuff out that I look back and I probably shouldn't have because I ended up deleting it later. It wasn't to my satisfaction watching it later. But no, I definitely have succumb to that, and as a result of all of that, you get creator burnout too, and it's like a real thing. Like you just get to the point to where it's like, you're just making content for your fans and for people who want to see it rather than for yourself, and that's kind of it ruins the entire idea around being a content creator. Because you're your own brand in that sense, and you're doing it for you. You're not doing it. I mean, you are doing it for like your fans too, but it's like it should be kind of a symbiotic relationship. It shouldn't be you're just making it for them. It should be, you're making it because it's your passion. It's what you love to do. And I don't ever want to like look back on editing and being like, wow, I really don't feel like doing this, So like every now and then I would take like a week break or 2 weeks break where I don't even look at my computer in that regard because I want to always like love it.
That's smart.
And I realize it's way more important than just making sure I get content on every week that maybe won't even perform really well or really isn't that good. Just for the sake of being consistent and, having a business or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah,
so,
that's a great point.
Definitely. That was a good question.
Yeah, no, because I feel like I can get away with having bouts of like self-sabotage with my editing and just kind of quickly finish something to put it out and post it. But I feel like with, the type of content you and other tribute or trailer like edit channels make, I feel like you can't. You don't have that luxury exactly to just kind of finish something and get it out. Like you guys really focus and pour like everything you've got, all your energy until the very end into a project before you publish it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say like I'm obviously guilty of cutting corners and just getting things out to get out, but I'm definitely changing that. With this edit coming up, it's it's like a little over 2-3 weeks in production, and I really don't spend that long creating something. Like the idea that HFP is like creating the Kylo Ren thing over the course of I don't know, like it's been like what 3
Even
months
longer,
now?
I think.
Like 25 minutes, like that's oh my god, that's like a
wait,
big
it's gonna be 25
project,
minutes long.
Yeah, he said something about how it's gonna be like the longest thing he's ever made. It's gonna be upwards of like 24 minutes or something.
Oh man, I got a plan for this reaction. Oh wow, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah. So I'm excited. It's gonna be like a
Honestly,
fan film in a way.
yes. Oh,
But
I'm hyped for that whenever it's coming. I think soon, right? He's been posting updates about it.
you said August, so it'll probably pop out soon.
Let's go. Well, on the topic of exciting projects, did you want to take this opportunity to make your announcement before we log off?
Oh yeah, I honestly totally forgot about that. Well, I guess for those of you who are still here, it seems like not a whole lot of people are here anymore. But I got obviously a pretty cool job opportunity for being an editor and producer for, I guess I can say, a Star Wars related thing that's going to take place next summer for sure for filming. It's outsourced from London. It's particularly the director is well connected with Lucasfilm and with all of them, so it's going to be a pretty exciting opportunity, and I hope that obviously COVID ends and everything can come to fruition as soon as possible, because this could be what really kind of catapults me into the next level, as you would say.
So professional, so legit. It is so exciting, and I'm so excited for when you're allowed to like share more and for when it actually happens. I can't wait for that. It's gonna be awesome. That's so exciting, and just so worth noting that am I allowed to say like it just you got this opportunity like through your channel and the work that you put into it, and it goes to show that like you're so deserving of it, and you're the work that you do. And I just, from one creator to the other, I mean, we have very different content on our channels, but it's just so cool, and it's so awesome to see like a fellow YouTuber, a Star Wars YouTuber in particular, or at least a Star Wars fan who like is getting this awesome opportunity. So I just am so...
Yeah, no, it's so exciting. I really appreciate your support too, and like a lot of you guys too. Thank you, Nick. Thanks, Inferno. Thanks all you guys. But it's like literally like when I got that email, and like he said that he, like, to be more specific, he saw my modern trailers, which is what kind of was what glued him to me. And he said he just really liked my editing style. He really liked how I used the space and how I like created, and my pacing was really good. Like he said all sorts of really, really nice things that just kind of blew my mind, because he's a seasoned veteran in the industry, and it was just so refreshing to hear like, okay, maybe I do have what it takes to kind of be in this, and it was humbling and also just overwhelming in so many ways.
So awesome. Oh, it's just great.
And then when you finally move here, I'm gonna have Kat be a PA on set.
Make me your assistant, please. Let me get as close to this as I possibly can. I'll do anything. I will be your Starbucks go-to-getter, whatever you need. Your wish is my command. Whatever. Yes, that would be so much fun. Whenever it ends up happening.
It'll be really cool. I mean, I know what I can say is like there's a lot of really famous people that are going to be involved in this, and like maybe even more than I'm saying a lot now. There might be even more if the funding comes through and everything. But it's going to be really really cool what it is. I can't say what it is. I can't say the format. I can't say any of that. But there's a lot of famous people, and it's probably going to be a pretty big thing. For streaming services.
Such an awesome opportunity. Well, on that note, do we want to end on a positive and call it a night with that?
Yeah, we can end on a positive note. We can probably answer do you have any questions like in your chat that you didn't answer? Are we all caught up? Is everything all good?
Thank you. Shout out to those of you who are here. As always, I mean, the people who aren't watching now will be the ones who need to hear this, but this will stay up on my channel for those of you if you want to come back in. So but yeah, shout out to those of you who are here. I'll probably be streaming again this week. I owe you Night Owls, my Night Owl stream, so I might plan to do that in the next few days. We'll see. But yeah, 80 this was so much fun. And
yeah, 2 hours.
Yes,
now. Isn't that
and
crazy?
I truly think this would be fun to like do again in the future, and hopefully work out the kinks so we can get it going on both of our channels again.
I'm so upset about that. I can't. I don't. Like, I'm gonna watch this back to see like what was going on, and I just know that I'm gonna be so upset about it.
I mean, at least it worked on one channel, luckily, and didn't just go down the drain on both of our ends. But I'm just upset because we literally did so many tests. Like, I just want people to know that we've been planning this, and we've been trying, and we've been testing this out. So it was not due to our lack of preparations. I promise you. It's just technology. Technology just.
Like literally the moment I hit live, everything went wrong. It was like the funniest thing. I was like, of course it did.
No.
Of course it did.
I'm sorry. Oh, I shouldn't be laughing at that, but that's.
No, it's honestly hilarious because like of course it does.
It stinks though. But yeah, next time we'll have hopefully worked out the kinks and learned from this one.
And it'll be fun. We'll figure out if we want to do this as like a monthly thing, a weekly thing.
Yes.
We're definitely gonna chat more.
Oh yes, for sure.
But yeah, thanks everyone though for stopping in. There's one last question. Are you both excited for the High Republic storyline, and what are you looking forward to? We were actually talking about this, and neither of us really know anything about it, right? Or do you know anything about it, Kat?
Not much, not at all. But I'm excited. Like I said earlier, I'm excited for anything, but I'm excited for like High Republic, Old Republic. I get those two mixed up a lot, but any Republic content that precedes, the prequels, I think it would be cool. I think it's about time we saw more content from, what what the Jedi, what the galaxy looked like, you know, before Phantom Menace comes around. So yeah, I'm super stoked.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I mean, whatever timeline it is, I think it's Star Wars. Like, and as we said before, we're totally going to tune into it and talk about it for sure. We got to probably update our knowledge on that so we can answer that question in more detail. But
and hopefully they release just more about it. Hopefully more rumors or whatnot starts to come out. So
yeah, bring on the Star Wars rumors, right? But all right, yeah, on that, yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We're definitely going to do it again, and we're going to figure out how this all works. Probably going to figure out how long we want to go to. This went 2 hours. You know, maybe we'll do like an hour every
We
every
could talk
week, or
forever, though.
2 hours every month, whatever
the
it
two
is
of
we
us.
do. Yeah, two of us really
but
vibe
maybe
well,
that sets
so
us up
we could
for
totally
good.
just keep doing this
we
forever.
could definitely do this forever. So yeah, I hope you guys like this. Definitely let me know. But I would love to have 80 edits more on this channel for sure, and talk more extensive Star Wars chats. This was so much fun.
Yeah, and then just, you know, make this as a way to engage with all of you guys, because obviously I don't have the most personable content, but, you know, this can be time for you to, you know, ask me questions, you know, whatever. I also want to make a little, like, one quick announcement before we end this stream. I want to just say that I have membership enabled, so you guys can, you know, join me and watch. I'm going to start making member-only live streams where I edit. You can watch my screen while I edit and see kind of my thought process and everything that goes through with all of that. So if you're definitely into that, definitely check that out. Become a member at any price point. Has access to live streams, and then, but besides that, you know, obviously this stream is free. My content is all free, and just you guys being here means the world. So, with that, I think, are you good, Kat?
May the Force be with you guys. Thank you all for being here. I hope you guys have a great day, night, morning, sleep, whatever it is you're doing with your day. But thank you for being here. And if you happen to tune in for the whole thing, shout out to you. You're a real one. Thank you so much. But to anyone who stopped in,
you, the OGs.
But even if you stopped in for like 2 seconds, I appreciate it so much. So shout out to you guys. We will both have videos coming out real soon. So stay tuned. And yeah, I hope you guys are doing well as always.
And drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe, my friends.
And join 80 edits. Yup. Alrighty.
Join the 80 empire. All right.
All right. Bye.
All right, later, guys.
All right.